It's Red Eye Radio. Gary McNamara and Eric Harley talk about everything from politics to social issues and news of the day. Whether you're up late or you're just starting your day, welcome to the show. From the Uniden America Studios, this is Red Eye Radio.
Hello and welcome. He is Gary McNamara. I'm Eric Harley as we begin a Monday. Gary, how are you?
Give me coffee.
Yeah. Patrick Henry, give me coffee or give me death.
Yeah. How's everybody doing, huh? Good to have you here.
Yeah.
I was back to Buffalo quickly for the weekend to see my dad.
Yeah, how's he doing?
He's doing good. He's back in the hospital, but just for a couple of days.
Yeah.
He should be out, Tuesday or Wednesday, but he's 99.
Yeah.
Or he's going to be 99 very soon, and it's just like, whoa. But I sent you a picture.
Great picture
of me and my dad at the hospital. So and he had advice. I sent you the advice that he had, just on business things. He was
right.
like,
yeah.
You and Eric, you keep doing good. Don't get into any bad investments. I'm not sure where that came from because we're not involved in any. Well, actually, right now, everything is a bad investment.
Well, I was going to say, I have a number of them that aren't doing well in recent days.
But the only little bit of a challenge is he won't stop offering all of his hospital food to anybody who's in the room. But it was really good to see him.
Good.
Really, I want to mention this just to start off the show because it was really fascinating. You and I talked about it, but not a lot. We talked a little bit about the correctional officers' strike in New York.
Mm-hmm.
And when I was there, I met a gentleman, met him and his wife and their friends. And I was going to say his first name and where he was, but I decided not to because apparently a deal's been done. And when I met this couple, they asked me what I thought, about the strike, and then I found out he works for a correctional institution in New York, and he just got his walking email that you're done.
Oh, wow.
On Friday, he got it.
Wow.
And it was really interesting because they said, because I told them, I said, it's not as big as a national story as you would expect it to be.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's statewide. It just wasn't one particular prison. You would think, I said, not that it wasn't covered in national news, but it definitely was not front page the entire time.
Right.
And when I was there, I was only there for a very short time, just a day, 24 hours. But every person I met, I said, okay, I'm just going to ask them. There are two questions I was going to ask them. If they were Republican or whatever, what do you think of the job Trump is doing? And once I met this gentleman, which was really when I just got into town, what do you think about the correction strike? Every single person. And I sort of got the feeling that it is the vast majority who backs the correctional officers, the corrections officers. I couldn't find anyone, and I still on social media with all my friends can't find anyone who was backing the state on it. And as this gentleman told me, and like I said, I was going to give his first name and where he worked, but I decided not to because since the deal has been done, I don't want anybody to figure out who he is and have any type of retaliation. Mm-hmm. I know the odds are low on that, but I just don't want to do that. Mm-hmm. But it's exactly what, you and I have talked about, the fact of where the left is, and they believe, and it was his wife, and two of their friends. But they were all in agreement that we're giving deference to the people who break the law and not the citizens. And in this case, there is no accountability for the inmates, prisoners, whatever, the inmates. And it's infuriating, and it's making it a dangerous situation to work in. And then the overtime rules are just insane, where they talk, 24 hours you can work straight like that, and they're worried about their safety.
Mm-hmm.
And it was fascinating to see the passion of someone who is losing their job, lost their job that day, and still says, we're doing absolutely the right thing. We cannot allow this to happen in our society. Now, they made a deal. They made a deal since then. The agreement requires 85% of the workers to return to work Monday morning for the terms to be honored. I'm reading this here from Syracuse.com. The deal comes amid mounting pressure on striking workers, including the removal of health care benefits and threats of litigation. The strike began on February 17th at the Collins Correctional Facility near Buffalo and spread to facilities across the state. The signed agreement promises that workers who return by Monday will not be disciplined. Any employees who were fired or resigned will be reinstated. Health benefits will be reinstated. Any pending litigation under the Taylor Law will be dismissed, and that's, they're not allowed to strike. Hochul deployed the National Guard. The National Guard will remain in support positions as staff begin returning to work, according to a memorandum of the agreement. They will be used to prevent employees from working 24-hour mandatory overtime shifts. Frustrations among corrections officers have been growing as they were required to work extensive overtime due to staffing shortages. Officers also expressed discontent, and this goes right to where this corrections officer was saying. Officers also expressed discontent. Discontent may be too mellow of a word with the Humane Alternatives to Long-Term Solitary Confinement Act, known as the HALT Act. The HALT Act restricts the use of solitary and segregated confinement while increasing therapeutic and rehabilitative alternatives. Striking officers have said the current law has increased the safety risks. And, I mean, they were passionate about it. The agreement signed late Saturday will continue the current suspension of those programming elements of the law for 90 days. And then in 30 days, they're going to reevaluate and all that. But they're furious about it. They said, we don't have any control. We don't have any way to discipline. There is no accountability. This was the complaint. There's no accountability when an inmate does something wrong, and you can't have that in the prison system. And I had mentioned that when I wonder how just across the board the prison system is. When I lived in Oregon, I was part of a charity that worked with the Sheridan Federal Prison in Sheridan, Oregon. And we went in the medium security prison, which is they had the supermax, max, the medium security, and then light minimum security. Well, the medium security is on the federal level at that point was like a state maximum security prison. You're talking about people that have killed people and assaults, rapists, all that. People that, have committed serious crimes. And we worked in a charity that made toys for kids. And these the inmates would make money and get college credit for all the different things would be needed to make all these toys. And then we were part of a charity that gave them away. So I was in there a few times. And you were in there, and everything was based on incentive. Everything was based on if you do the right thing, it'll pay off. If you don't do the right thing, you lose these privileges. There was accountability all along the system. And, and so when you talk to the corrections officers at that federal level, they thought it was a good system. And you can walk through, and we sat there we sat in meetings. There'd be one guard, and there's 20 inmates. And I'm up there talking to them, and never once did I feel any type of fear whatsoever. And so I just wanted to bring that up because of the passion, and it didn't really get the amount of publicity nationwide. It was out there, but it wasn't a huge story. And I think it should have been a bigger story based on the fact that it's something that you and I have talked about when we talk about the left and illegal immigration. Not the criminal illegal immigrants. And we played some of the congressional hearings last week. The mayor of Boston, the mayor of Denver, and that back and forth going on, with Jim Jordan. My God, you let this guy just out? And It's giving deference. It's giving deference and treating people that have committed crimes, giving them better treatment and no accountability, and just saying to hell with the protection of the law-abiding citizens. And it's, to me, it's just a continuation of all of that.
Well, that, and you couple that with this new, it's something they'd been edging towards, but now they're just outright saying it. Liberals like Hillary Clinton saying people should be behind bars in prison for lying.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you're exactly.
You know what I mean? So
let's
give
punish
deference to criminals, even violent criminals who are behind bars. And therefore, and by the way, we should be clear when Hillary, when she's saying this, she doesn't mean her. She means everybody else. How dare you?
Well, you know something? It's like a murderer saying we need to punish murderers.
Yeah, those murderers should be behind bars, but I'm innocent. But it's this idea that it really is the opposition, because it goes along with what John Kerry said, also former Secretary of State, and not the truth czar, but the global warming czar. And he said that the First Amendment is blocking our agenda. So you put those ideas together, and it's the same idea, basically, that we should put behind bars people who are saying things that work against us politically. This is who they are. But actual criminals, remember AOC, they're just trying to feed their family. When they were going in stores and, taking everything off the shelves. By the way, that was about the turning point for Michael Rappaport, because he was showing a video that I don't think he recorded it. I think somebody else, but it was in his neighborhood. He said, "This is a drugstore in my neighborhood, and this is what they did," and it was some of that footage. Oh, they're just trying to feed their families. But that's it. It's all under the same umbrella. Give deference to the criminals. Put behind bars people. I mean, if they could, Elon Musk, everybody, anybody who lied, parents who want to go to a school board meeting and issue a valid grievance about a transgender who attacked a girl. Well, we're going to send the FBI to their parking lot. Take down their license plates. Violent criminals behind bars, we give them deference. You shoot a healthcare CEO and become the suspect, and you're the hero. We'll have people protesting in your favor, not mourning the death of an innocent man, father of two. That's the world we live in today. That's the left.
Yeah.
And if you're voting for Democrats, you support that. There's no way around it. Well, you can vote and show you don't support that by not supporting them. I don't care if you vote for the Green Party, Republican Party, or anything else. But if you vote for the Democratic Party, you're part of that. And, of course, we have to throw on, the misogyny and the hatred for women and the destruction of Title IX. All of this is part of a big plan that they proudly promote. They're not secret about it. John Kerry and Hillary Clinton said it out loud. They want those things to happen. And
the mayors made it clear.
Yes.
Last week. No,
right.
We're going to do whatever we can to keep illegal immigrant criminals,
yep,
that have broken the law,
yep,
away from ICE.
Right.
We're going to do it.
And what was their argument? Look at the evolution of their argument on that front. On that front, it was, well, they just want to come here and make a better life. There's no. We're talking about the criminal element among them. Violent criminals. Well, yeah, that's racist and blah, blah, blah. Remember when Trump said, coming across the border as some of the worst kind of people. And then they said, oh, he calls them all whatever, violent criminals or whatever. That's bigoted. And now they fully, outright, openly defend violent criminals being in your neighborhood, and they're not going to cooperate with ICE. They're not going to, in a setting where you could easily keep the person who's being detained, you could keep them detained until ICE just all they're doing is picking them up. A peaceful transfer of custody for ICE. Nope. We'll put them on the street and good luck. And by the way, if some of your agents happen to get hurt, we don't care. That's the world we live in.
We've got a great show ahead, and there's so much audio and a whole bunch of stories over the weekend. 866-90-RED-EYE.
This report is brought to you by Shell Rotella. With advanced synthetic technology, is designed to help keep your rig running with more mileage and less maintenance. It's not always easy to spring back from the harsh days of winter to warmer months ahead. From de-icing chemicals to hidden debris underneath snow and ice, winter conditions can do serious damage to your truck. Here's a must-do maintenance check to help you minimize downtime and stay rolling. Inspect your brake hoses, linings, and slack adjusters for any wear and tear. Listen for any air leaks that may have resulted from moisture freezing up in the system. Check slack adjusters for proper stroke and lubrication. And check your brake linings or pads to ensure proper thickness.
Lines open for your calls. 866-90-RED-EYE on Red Eye Radio.
It's Red Eye Radio. He's Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. I just read, looking at the Jim Garrity column, that Democrats are slowly going to be dropping the radical transgender movement. I don't know about that.
I don't know about that at all. Do you, if there is a tactic, that you're trying to use here, it would be slow it down. But the problem is, all right, let's say the party wanted to do that. Anybody believe AOC is going to go, yeah, okay, I go along with that. Yeah, I'm going to. The radicals are not going to listen to what the party says. It's not working for them.
No, it is.
But they won't give it up.
Oh, the one thing, when I was talking to that group of people the other day, and then a corrections officer from New York, when we started talking about Trump, and I said, all right, do you like Trump? They go, yeah, we love the majority of what he's doing. Mm-hmm. And I said, what about the tariffs? Whew. Mm-hmm. Wow.
Yeah.
Now, maybe it's because I'm close, a couple miles from the Canadian border, but they were like, the emotion that came out, no!
Mm-hmm.
Like, whoa.
Yeah.
That was like,
Yeah. Dealerships are scrambling. What happens, when you have to massively increase the cost of a vehicle? When people are having trouble right now, and with higher interest rates, I don't know what the average car payment is right now. Every once in a while we look it up. But I mean, my gosh, you add to that, you're going to have to factor in the tariff. And here's what I wonder. On a bank loan, there is this, kind of a formula, loan to value ratio or whatever the vehicle is worth, market price of the vehicle, market value of the vehicle. How do the banks factor that in if you're adding 25% or 25% to the cost of a vehicle on the loan? Is all of a sudden the value of that vehicle increased and the bank's okay with loaning more money on that vehicle? I don't know.
Catch all 5 hours of the show live every night on the Red Eye Radio app. Available in the App Store. Red Eye Radio.
And he's Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Welcome and good morning. Thanks so much for being here this morning. Again, the weekend, I hate the weekends because I come in on a Monday. You and I come in on a Monday. It's like we don't know where to start because there's just so many things going on.
Yeah.
But we'll start here.
Okay.
All right. I'm ready for this audio cut here from Face the Nation on CBS. Margret Brennan. Let's hear what she has to say.
I want to ask you, border crossings, they're at a 25-year low.
Yeah.
Do I have to go any further than that? Let's do that again, and I'll play more of the audio cut, but it's Margret Brennan on CBS saying border crossings, they are at a 25-year low. Then we'll let the Department of Homeland Security Secretary Nome, we'll let her give her answer.
I want to ask you, border crossings, they're at a 25-year low.
They are. It's fantastic.
There are 6,000 U.S. military personnel working at the border now. That number could go up to 9,000 by the end of the month. How long do you have to keep them there if the numbers are already dropping like this?
You know, we'll continue the partnership with the Department of Defense, but also we've got partnerships with Commerce, with the Attorney General's office. You know, we're working every day with the Secretary of State. We'll keep them there until that border is completely secure, and we see all-time record lows of encounters. Our Border Patrol is doing fantastic work, but we're going to keep them there till the whole world gets the message that this isn't Joe Biden's world anymore. This.
I love it.
And then this CBS report over the weekend. All right, here we go. There's the CBS report.
Just feet away from Mexico, our cameras captured a heavily fortified U.S. border.
This has been known for so many years for the high level of smuggling activity.
That has been true historically, but not anymore.
The activity is very slow. There's multiple factors attached to why we have seen a significant drop in apprehensions recently. One of them, of course, is consequences.
And you believe that is due to new policies from Washington, D.C.?
It has a lot to do with that.
Well, not to say it has everything to do with that. It's not the weather.
But I just want to continue it here because they talk about where it talks about we've seen Border Patrol agents, soldiers, vehicles, barriers, not one person trying to cross. Here we go.
It is quiet here at the U.S.-Mexico border, where illegal crossings are down by more than 90% from the same time last year. We have seen Border Patrol agents, soldiers, and vehicles and barriers, but no migrants so far.
Wow.
Yeah.
And Bill Malugin, you saw that report over the weekend, too, where Malugin was saying there's nobody there.
I know. I'm afraid for Bill Malugin's job. Sorry, Bill. Due to lack of activity, we're going to have to let you go. It's fantastic. You know, the thing about spending so much time in Del Rio as a young person, you know, I have friends from grade school, and we're texting each other. We have a group text that's actually been going on for many years. Wow. It goes on for a while. It has to be my gosh, the better part of 20 years. I'd have to go back and look, but it's years and years, group text. We don't really do the social media thing. I mean, everybody's on Facebook, but as a group, we don't. And some of the guys have parents who still live in Del Rio, and they'll go back every once in a while. I haven't been back in years, but I'm happy for the people of Del Rio and other border towns that don't have to live with the chaos. It's not like everything is, you know, perfect and this is over. But it's dramatically different when you have a town of Del Rio is, I don't know, roughly 35,000. And then, you know, you go back a few summers to the International Bridge thing, and there were thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands coming across. And that is, it's overwhelming to these border towns. It has been for a long, long time. But to be at a place, it's exactly what Noam said there. You're sending a message that the Biden years are done. Stores closed. The bear out front should have told you. It's over. This is no longer, hey, come on in. Remember, that was one of the things we saw at the International Bridge or at, certain crossings when the media was there. Why are you here? Biden told us to come over. He campaigned on that actively in 2020. And when you look at now this, we can't say secure border, but a much different situation on the border. It's good for these border towns to at least be able to breathe a bit. And then beyond that, it's great for my friends I still have a number of friends who are border agents. It's Raul Ortiz. He has since retired. He retired during the Biden years and made chief of the U.S. Border Patrol. But, he's hanging out doing some fishing, literally, on a beach and enjoying his retirement as he has earned it. But these are people, including Raul, that many of them, they start as an agent, as a Border Patrol agent, and they work and work and work and work, and they stay there for years. Out of my friends who are doing that, I know none of them that did it for just a short period of time and then got out. They're all career-long border agents, whether they make it up, only one, Raul, has made it up to that level. But it's, they make it to sector chief or they make it, they make rank, they go up through the ranks. And they love their work because they love the mission. And those are things we don't think about every day. We're not border agents. We're not doing this impossible, thankless job. But they are people who care about their job and love what they do. And then, beyond that, again, what Noam said, the tone, the message to the world. You don't get to just walk in. We're not going to be turning our Border Patrol agents into border processors and waving you through anymore. You're going to meet, security on the border. It is going to be a secure border. We're not 100% there yet, but the effort is being made, and the drop in crossings is dramatic and awesome.
Here's one of the Bill Maloogian audio cuts from over the weekend.
I mean, after spending years down there, to see the numbers the way they are now, I knew they were going to go low. Never could I imagine this low. Where VP Vance was in Eagle Pass the other day, December 2023, when things were at their all-time worst, you were getting like 3,000 to 4,000 crossings there a day. There were just 14 there the other day. Yeah. If Fox were to send me down there right now, I'd have trouble finding a single migrant on camera. Completely different than what we're used to. So.
This is something I know the president in his joint address to Congress, made that case. All it took was a new president. And this is something that you and I have talked about for the longest time, about how you market what you've done. Right. Yeah. That you need to be running consistent advertising, especially when you're talking the 80-20 issues. Right. You need to, and I think that the RNC, if I was a part of the RNC, which I'm not, but if I was a political consultant to the Republicans, I would say what you need to do is market this. Yeah. You need to take not only what the president said, you need to take Bill Maloogian, you need to take people in their own words with the president at the end of it stating, you didn't need congressional action. Right. All you needed was a new president who followed the law. Right. The law already existed. We did it. And then you go after them in other advertising where you say, they lied to you. Yep. They lied to you. They told you something that wasn't true. They wanted the border to be open. You've got to continually, especially when a topic is hot, you market it because the whole thing is to put that impression into people's mind. For example, I saw this on and this is what gave me the idea over the weekend when I saw this, which is just listen to this, and it's sort of self-evident and explanatory.
But American border problems won't be fixed until Congress acts. If we don't pass my comprehensive immigration reform, at least pass my plan to provide the equipment and officers to secure the border.
Democrat Party kept saying we needed new legislation. We must have legislation to secure the border. But it turned out that all we really needed was a new president.
And you need to take everything. You need to take Margret Brennan, what she said in Illusion, and you find all the audio cuts from liberals even saying, well, it's the lowest, it's down 95% from a year ago. It's a great example of the lies that the Democrats were telling you,
right?
How their effort, and this is where the talking point should be across the board. If I'm a political consultant, and I guess I am here because you can follow my advice, I would tell them, you need to market this, and every other success that you have, you need to market it. The next thing I was thinking of is the radical transgender movement. I might not start running the ad yet, but I'm thinking about the ad already with what Gavin Newsome said the other day. You know, it's unfair because you take and that's a dual purpose. You show that they know it's wrong, but you also attempt in a Republican ad to attempt the credit to attempt to destroy the credibility of Gavin Newsom to the far left.
Yeah, right.
But this is the thing. I think it's wrong, especially in this day and age, just to run political ads when it's election time. I think it's important to continually, just like any other advertising that exists out there, you put those impressions in people's minds day in and day out.
Yeah.
And on all the Sunday morning news shows or whenever you're interviewed, you talk about it over and over again. You promote it, you promote it, you promote it. I found it incredible that the mainstream media was actually bringing it up.
Yeah. Well, and there's a way to market it, too, on social media.
Absolutely,
you can have the conversations, right. I don't know, podcast style, and make some shorts and TikTok videos of, look at what's going on, 95% reduction in border crossings. Wow. And then the clip from Trump. Turns out all you needed was a new president. Those things, I don't know how you define viral, but it will have legs.
Yeah.
It will be repeated because what you do is you point out the contrast, which Trump has done since his inauguration speech, which I thought was great. What I loved about it, actually, that it was indoors. Because when it's normally done, when it's outdoors, there's a wide shot. So you wouldn't have seen, of course, the outgoing president and vice president are kind of in the background. But this time they were sitting right there, and he was pointing out the contrast. This is what they broke. This is what we're going to do to fix it. And this is what they have been, doing over and over and over again. But you're right. There needs to be an effort to make that stuff known every single day.
Well, you made the great point, too, because people say, well, the advertising costs a lot of money, and you want to do it before an election to remind people. Well, the fact is it doesn't have to cost you a lot of money because of social media.
Right.
You can put together those ads and run them.
And it doesn't have to be like a speech. It doesn't even have to be Levitt. It's if you put, a couple of surrogates talking, conversational, podcast kind of style.
Oh, I think you run ads.
No. You can run ads, but you run videos too. You make videos, make short videos.
Oh yeah.
And put them out there because those will get some shares that.
And then I would also I would spend some TV money. Not a lot.
Oh, yeah.
But I'd spend some TV money in the right spots to do it.
Right.
To market your successes and to remind people that you were lied to.
Right. Exactly.
866-90-RED-EYE.
Get in touch with Red Eye Radio, toll free at 866-90-RED-EYE.
It's Roadside Radio. He is Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Welcome and good morning. More on the border thing, because there's a couple of more things we want to say on it. I did like how you said, I was talking about doing ads, and what you said was in a podcast-like form kind of thing, where you talk about the fact that not only did the Democrats lie to you, but this proves that the Democrats wanted the border open. They wanted to make your life harder. They wanted to do it. This was a decision by the Biden administration. Never forget, and I would have a podcast, or if you want to use our show, that's fine. Never forget that the Democrats wanted the border open. They wanted border chaos.
Yep.
Their whole goal was to make your life harder.
Yep.
Top of the hour news is brought to you by House Products. Visit houseproducts.com.
This is Red Eye Radio on Westwood One. Now, it's Red Eye Radio. Gary McNamara and Eric Harley talk about everything from politics to social issues and news of the day. Whether you're up late or you're just starting your day, welcome to the show. From the Uniden America Studios, this is Red Eye Radio.
All across America, welcome, good morning. Thank you for being here. As always.
Thank you.
Here we are. Almost to the middle of March.
Yeah, what gives?
I don't know.
It's going quick.
I think this week, heading towards the middle of March, will be a good week.
Yeah, I think so. I think it'll be great. I think it'll be awesome.
I saw somebody post on social media. It was like it showed Trump, and he's just looks like he's really amped up, and it's like, oh, Trump's rested and ready to go. It's not going to be a good week for Democrats. It was just a generic statement. But just real quickly, just to finish some of the discussion we're having in the first hour about what happened at the border and the coverage, especially by CBS. Because let me play this here. This is CBS Mornings now.
Yeah.
Not Face the Nation, but CBS Mornings, and the same discussion.
You spent how long, going along the
About
border?
4 hours.
And how different was this trip versus past trips
We
through
did not
different
see a
administrations?
single migrant or asylum seeker. And typically, when we go to the U.S.-Mexico border, we at least see one group of people who are trying to cross into the U.S. illegally. We did not see a single migrant. We saw soldiers, Border Patrol agents, and National Guard troops and vehicles and barriers, but no migrants.
And again, that's why we said they need to market this. You just can't have the victory and say, we had the victory and then move on. You pound this day after day, week after week, even month after month. Because the reports will always come out about what's going on at the border, and you go back and you hit it again. All these 80-20 issues that you've won on, now you need to focus on why you won it.
Yeah.
And the reason you won it is not because we needed Congress to do legislation. The Democrats were lying to you. You didn't need new legislation. All you needed was a president to enforce the law. But the former president, not this president, the former president, Biden, lied to you, as did all Democrats. They lied to you. They did this on purpose. Their goal is to create chaos inside the United States. That's their goal. They wanted open borders, and the reason we saw what we saw is because that's what Democrats wanted. Democrats don't care about you. They care about others. However you market it, and you promote, you I think you do ads. I like the thing where you also do podcasts. The ad should be doing it in their own words. You should be playing what Biden said. You should be playing what the reporters are saying now. There's nobody there. I mean, there's just we don't see anybody. And then at the end, you need to play Trump saying what he did. But you need to explain to the American people.
Yeah. Right.
Because this isn't a situation where it was a hypothetical where the Democrats wanted no tax cut and the Republicans wanted a tax cut.
Right.
This is an issue where Democrats went in and purposely did not follow the laws of the United States. They did not follow them. They had everything that they needed. in order to control the border, and they did the opposite. And they wanted all the people in New York, people listening in Chicago right now, you know what you've gone through over the last couple of months. And you know what it is now. You know. And that's where you have to address all these people in these major cities that were screaming about the migrants coming across and that we need comprehensive immigration reform. That was a load of horse manure. We can't get it done. We cannot stop what's going on at the border unless we get comprehensive immigration reform, which means Congress has to do it. The president alone can't do it. Liars. And they were lying because they purposely wanted chaos at the borders. You need to market the daylights out of that now. Now that the success is so crystal clear, and you can talk about in just weeks. In just weeks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Understand the Democrats don't care about you. And then let them have their discussion as they were having. We'll get to this. Well, Gavin Newsom. Well, you know, I really don't know. Well, you know, the Gavin Newsom thinks it's unfair for men to play against women. We don't know what to say. We're completely lost. Oh, Al Green. We'll have all this audio coming up. Al Green. The president took away his freedom of speech. He has freedom of speech. He is free. He shouldn't be censured only if he commits a violent act. I mean, it's just they are lost.
Well, and instead of letting that just lay there and get some time on it, you know, to go away, they keep bringing things up. The Al Green thing is one example. They keep regurgitating these things over and over again. It's like, if you'll just shut up about it, it will go away. You're making it worse.
They're not responding to Republicans. They're responding to themselves almost.
No, honestly, they are. Because you had a number of Democrats that were just kind of shaking their head going, prominent liberals going, what the hell happened? Seriously, what the hell happened? Well, they know what happened. Whether they're currently in office or not, they were part of it. And the implosion was inevitable. And I don't know how they regroup, and frankly, at this point, don't care. But don't pretend like you weren't part of it. And we see that more and more. You know, it's just, who was it, Jake Tapper recently? Jake Tapper wrote a book after defending tooth and nail Joe Biden for years. Wrote a book on the cover-up of his whatever cognitive issues the former president has. Are you kidding me? Wow. You know, I mean, it's somebody wrote me, one of our great listeners, it's like Jeffrey Dahmer writing a cookbook. I mean, seriously, it's insane. Nobody buys it for a minute.
I know.
And then Hunter in court last week. Book sales have dried up, and painting sales have dried up.
Nobody wants to buy my paintings.
Right. Your Honor, I'd like to translate. Influence peddling dollars have dried up.
Right.
That's what's dried up. Right. It's fascinating to watch because I've said often that the liberals had believed, I thought the liberals really believed they had won everything forever. You know, when Obama won the White House, we won it. We won the movement. We win the conversation. We control the conversation. And that went a lot deeper than anybody ever thought. Then we control the social media conversation. We control everything. We control the narrative forever. And we're getting away with lying to people. They're buying the lies and loving it. You know, they're absolutely loving it. But now you look at it and it's clear that that is not the case, that they don't own it. They can't lie like they used to and get away with it. You know, they're telling the lies they're telling now, or the weird defense that they may make on any given issue, is the kind of thing they did before and they got away with it. But people aren't buying it. And that's the problem they're having right now. They just can't sell it like they used to because nobody's buying it. Nobody's buying it. Joe Biden helped to destroy all of that.
And then, see, this is the beauty of social media. And then late last week, with all the chaos going on with Democrats, they can't even, they were completely stumped with they hate Gavin Newsom right now.
Yeah.
For saying it. But Gavin Newsom did not say he would vote any other way. He simply said it was unfair.
Right.
But he didn't say, no, I would reverse all the legislation in the state of California.
No.
He didn't say that.
Nope.
And it's still, they just can't handle it. And then you take all the border stuff that's going on, and they're just completely quiet about it because they can't even touch that one. And then they come out with the Elaine Bennis from Seinfeld dancing, the female representatives dancing.
Pick your fighter, choose your fighter thing.
Fight with me. Fight with me. Choose your fighter. I mean, they don't even. You ready?
Mm.
They're not normal. They don't know how to relate to normal Americans.
Yeah.
That's it, though.
I mean, that's really what it's come down to. Is they champion these radical causes, but the radicals in office, quite frankly, aren't very smart. Say what you will about Barack Obama back in the day in 2008, 2007. Can you imagine him doing a stupid video like the Choose Your Fighter thing? No. Not only was he the smartest man in the room, according to them, he was also the coolest man in the room. And cool people don't do that. It's weird. It's bizarre.
I know. It's just weird.
They don't know how to. They actually don't know how to relate or communicate.
I think I forgot about this because I got so busy over the weekend and I was traveling to go see Dad, and I had put it on Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
The response. Oh man, the response from the Trump administration to the Choose Your Fighter.
Yeah,
and I wrote probably a better Choose Your Fighter ad, and I mean it was about everything that the Republicans are doing.
Yeah,
everything that has 80-20, and
it
was everything was of substance and strength and everything else, not some kind of weird Elaine dance from Seinfeld,
right?
From the female representatives. And when I saw that ad, I went, "They get it."
Yeah,
the Republicans get it.
Right.
And that was out immediately, and that went viral on social media because it was so great.
Right. Yeah. And it also, because it takes the stupidity of that, whatever that was, that the liberals were doing, and then it puts it into real mode. You kind of lean into it. So while there's nothing to disarm against Trump and that whole Choose Your Fighter thing, they took that and ran with it and made it something, because a lot of people were posting, I chose my fighter. And then the iconic photo of him from the day, moments after he was nearly assassinated, with his fist in the air. It's like, nope, we already chose our fighter, and it's not you. And it's such horrible imagery. Last week, we keep going into the weekend going, well, wonder what's next. I mean, from the waving a cane at President Trump during his speech from Al Green to the choose your fighter thing, it was just, and then they did exactly what we said they were going to do. It was the entire intent of Al Green doing that is, okay, come on, we got to make him the victim. I believe that Al Green believed that and, was going to be the victim for being thrown out because there was no way he was going to abide by the rules. He knew he was going to get kicked out. He wanted to get kicked out. He didn't care about being, and he knew, they might censure me. He doesn't care. That makes him the victim, build his martyrdom. Let's keep going with this thing. And they just make it worse in trying to defend him, and they're still trying to defend him for that.
And then the old template came. Well, there they were, these white men that were screaming at an elderly black man.
Yeah,
the racism that, and they tried to make this whole thing that it was racist. The response of kicking him out was racist, and it's like it falls completely flat. It's like, you don't understand. This isn't 2020 anymore.
Right.
The tide has changed. It has.
Yeah.
It's I thought that was unbelievable. It's like, okay, here they go. Here's a racism thing. Okay, where's the response?
Right.
Where's anybody agreeing with them? Nothing. Absolutely falls flat. So what do? They were denying. Oh, I'll have to get to the Jamie Raskin one. I think it's the Jamie Raskin one where he makes a case Biden would know how to handle a heckler. Trump doesn't have the vocabulary to do that. So they kick him out. It's like they're trying to make the case that Biden had this incredible way of public speaking where if there was a heckler, now as we know, he did not face any heckler. He may have faced a heckler from the Republicans or somebody that would scream something. They didn't stand and do it minute after minute after minute until they were forced out.
Right, exactly.
And we all know that.
Right.
And so you can't win that. They just aren't going to change. And I know there's a question. I saw I think it was Jim Garrity, National Review, that, let me just get it here real quick. It was like, he goes, get ready for the beginning of the Democrats backing off on the radical transgender movement. And I looked at you and said, I don't know. I
don't have that kind of confidence.
They may pretend. Some may pretend to do it like Gavin Newsome, but I don't think they're going to do it.
No.
I'll find the audio because it was just like, there's another one here. I'm just reading a headline. Democrats are bad actors. 866-90 Red Eye.
Brought to you by FPPF, Fuel Power Max.
Managing time is key. Successful owner-operators know that simply running hard is not enough. If it were that easy, anyone could do the job and expect the profits to roll in. It generally pays to slow down. There is a trade-off in higher costs, not to mention the increased risk for driving fast. If driving slower takes time away from you, you could find some of the ways to get it back. Never take time off during the last 2 weeks of the quarter or the last week of the month, when freight typically is abundant. Sometimes it works to your advantage to look for loads that take you through home rather than to home. The latter can interrupt your revenue stream and require additional time to get back up to full speed again. Owner-Operator Business 101 is provided by Overdrive's Partners in Business program. Go to overdriveonline.com to the Partners in Business section of the website for more details on this and many other topics. Brought to you by Shell Rotella, with advanced synthetic technology is designed to help keep your rig running with more mileage and less maintenance.
We'll be right back with more Red Eye Radio with Eric Harley and Gary McNamara.
It's Red Eye Radio. He's Eric Harley and I'm Gary McNamara. Welcome and good morning. Yeah, So I can't tell you how many times I saw just on social media over the weekend and on conservative media outlets and even on CNN the discussion of the I just call it the Elaine dance moves by the representatives. Oh, by the way, thank you to everybody who have expressed sympathy towards who my congressperson is.
Oh, yeah.
I got
Yeah. Sympathy for you, not her.
Yes.
Yeah.
Jasmine Crockett is my congressperson.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
what? You live in Texas. There are crazy Democrats in Texas.
Oh, yeah.
Understand that.
Yeah.
Now, I was in a Republican district until, I think, 2022. And then she was elected in 23 because it was all part of redistricting.
Right, yeah.
And so I got put into her district.
Yeah, right.
I didn't purposely move to her district. I want to make that clear.
You're listening to Red Eye Radio from the Uniden America Studios.
And he is Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Welcome and good morning. Thank you so much for being here. So, yeah, just reading, it was Jim Garrity from National Review. Get ready for the Democratic retreat on trans athletes.
Yeah.
And then he goes, Gavin Newsom changes shape. Way back in August of 2013, 2 years before Donald Trump descended the escalator and announced he was running for president, the state of California enacted a law requiring public schools to allow transgender kindergarten through 12th grade students access to whichever restroom or locker room they want. The law gave students the right to participate in sex-segregated programs, activities, and facilities based on their self-identification,
right,
regardless of their birth gender. The spokesperson for the bill's sponsor said those born one gender and identifying as another, they're not interested in going into bathrooms and flaunting their physiology. The bill was signed into law by former Governor Jerry Brown. The lieutenant governor of California at the time was Gavin Newsom. If Newsom had any objections to the law at the time, he kept them to himself. Newsom has been governor of California for 6 years, 2 months, and 1 day. At no point in that 6 year and change span did Newsom express even a peep of objection to the law or policy. Right up to the moment Newsom sat down for the inaugural edition of his podcast with Charlie Kirk. Then, seemingly out of nowhere, the California governor claimed that for years he had thought the policy was unfair to women athletes. Wow. And we've already played the audio of what he said at that time. Now, again, does this mean that get ready for Democrats' retreat, that's going to happen? I don't necessarily think so.
No.
At all.
No.
If you want to get to it, this is this is Meet the Press, okay? And Welker plays the audio cut and asks, for example, Alyssa Slotkin, Senator, if she agrees with Newsom. Here we go.
Would you say no men in female sports?
Well, I think it's an issue of fairness. I completely agree with you on that. It is an issue of fairness. So it's deeply unfair. I revere sports, and so the issue of fairness is completely legit.
Senator, do you agree with Governor Newsom?
Well, look, I think, you'll have to talk to Mr. Newsom and his podcast, and we're all talking about it now because it's, good controversy.
You notice she starts out with the Karine Jean-Pierre answer.
Yeah, right.
Which is stating the obvious.
Right.
Yes, he said it, and we're talking about it.
And it's controversy.
Because he said it, and the controversy.
And you're asking me a question, and I'm eventually going to come up with a response. And
here we go. Let's see if she gives anything of substance.
For me, I grew up playing 3 seasons of sports. In Michigan, sports is like our religion, right? I wouldn't be here, I think, without the leadership training that I got in women's sports. But for me, it's like, let the local community figure this out, right? In Michigan, we have a process in place where if someone who's born a boy wants to play in women's sports, you have to get a waiver. We've had it happen 2 times in our entire state. So let the local communities, just like everything with schools, handle that issue. For me, though, I think, this issue is being sort of brought up in order to make sparks and see sparks fly.
Now, she never answered it. Now, think about this. She's saying the local people should answer it. Did she object that President Obama and then Biden continued it, changing Title IX? Should Title IX now not exist? Should discrimination be allowed against women if the locals wish to have it? Should we get rid of Title IX now? This is where, again, if you delve into the minutia of it, she can't win. But still, in that entire conversation, she never told you what she thinks.
No, she didn't.
So is that going to be the new one now? Are they going to pretend? We've always looked at this as a local issue because, as we all know, that's a lie.
We're going to let each school district or each college or each team decide how it's going to go. You're not going to get away with that.
No, you're not. You're not going to win that
Once
one.
on the radical train, you have to stay there.
All right, so let's get now to Fox News Sunday, where Representative Ro Khanna was on. Okay, see how he responded to it, to see if Democrats are actually going to retreat. If there's an issue you're going to retreat on, that would be a good issue.
Yeah.
But the question is, does anybody buy it, or is it just like when Harris said, when Harris all of a sudden embraced and said she's going to build a wall and she's going to be tougher on the border than Donald Trump.
Right.
Did anybody believe? Does anybody believe that if she became president, the border would be where it is today under Trump?
I'm waiting for her to say, listen, I didn't even have to win for the border to become more secure.
So here we go with California Representative Ro Khanna.
You made on X sounds like you might disagree with where Governor Newsom is on this. You've urged your party to get more in line with America, where they are on the issues. So what about this one?
Well, Shannon, I'm always a straight shooter, so I'll tell you where I stand. I know many of your viewers will disagree with it, but I was perplexed by the governor because Governor Newsom supported, along with Jerry Brown, a law in California in 2013 that's been on the books for 10 years. And that law says that trans kids do get to participate in sports, K through 12. And we have a California Intercollegiate Federation that sets the standards to balance the inclusion of trans kids with fairness and safety. And so I guess I didn't understand what the governor was saying. And for a decade, he's supported this law. It's still the law on the books. Is he saying we need to repeal that law? I believe that law has worked in California, and I don't think there should be a federal ban, and we should have these state athletic associations like the California Intercollegiate Federation set the standards so that you balance inclusion with fairness and safety.
Well, that is a political evolution a lot of folks are having these days, so we'll follow the conversation within your party and more broadly.
I would ask him why he's a misogynist.
Yeah, right.
That's what I'd ask him.
Yeah. Inclusion and fairness. Let's break those two down together. How's that going to work?
You know something? Did you get... It was almost as if, because I saw that segment too, it was almost as if she was just going through the motions.
Yeah.
Shannon Breen and asking that question.
No, she really, I think she was.
All right, fine. A lot of people disagree with them. It's like going through the motion. Okay, I got it.
And we'll be following this more broadly.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. There's an evolution, and we'll follow it more broadly. And no. Gary and Eric are not John Boehner. We like messy.
We love messy.
Let's get into it.
Let's get messy.
Inclusion and fairness. Okay. And together, how's that going to work? Tell me, how's it going to work? Because he's 6'2" and weighs 220 pounds, and she's 5'6"
and 90 pounds
and weighs 90 pounds.
I mean, they're just
fairness.
They're so full of crap. I mean, seriously, they
just such garbage. Well, because they say inclusion of one of the things we heard from them was what? Well, we're only talking about a few. Fetterman just last week, right? Wasn't it Fetterman that said, no, it's not affecting my daughter?
Yeah.
It's not.
Well, the whole
it's
thing.
only a few. But if there is this evolution or turn in the left, if Jim Garrity's right, then are they buying into that whole thing of, it only affects a few? If we back away from it, it's not going to get that loud.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. It doesn't affect a lot of, and then the whole thing is the hundreds and whatever, as they talk about the state championships and stuff. And nobody's buying that argument, by the way.
Right.
Nobody's buying that argument. You're trying to hold your own coalition together by doing it.
Yeah.
People aren't buying that argument whatsoever. But the entire thing is now where they're saying, well, I don't know why does the president wish to get involved in this? And it's like, shut up. Yeah. I mean, it was Obama that changed Title IX.
Right.
Title IX is about civil rights. And the Congress of the United States passed Title IX in order to ensure that there was fairness for women in sports. And so the federal level was involved in it. Now they're like, well, let the locals do it. Why do the Republicans want to get involved in the federal level? Because you did.
Right.
That's what set the whole damn thing up. What really expanded it was Obama, the Department of Education, and the Department of Justice under Obama saying that biological sex wasn't biological sex anymore.
Right. Right.
They depend on the fact that people live in the bubble of today.
Yeah. Yeah, they do. Forget about everything we've done and said. This is where we are now. They really do. They want to do the, Jedi mind trick. That never happened. Well, yeah, it did. I mean, Jake Tapper writing the book on Biden. I never said that. Yes, you did.
How's that book doing?
I don't know.
It hasn't come out yet? I don't even know.
Yeah, I don't know. That's where they are. Because if they have to own it, if they have to go back and go, ooh, man, I really blew that one. There's no credibility. Not that we give them any to begin with. But how do you make a convincing argument going forward? Well, they're just at this point now where I don't know. I don't know if it's a collective, thing where it's like, okay, guys, we need to back away from the liberal transgender movement and just ease up on it. Let's kind of slowly walk away. Well, no. When you grab your car keys and say and start heading for the door, everybody at the party knows you're leaving. Hey, where are you going? This is a great party. What's wrong with you? You can't do that. You can't back away from the radicals. Because at some point, the questions come up. Well, they come up during, I don't know, writing a bill, during a debate on stage when running for office or re-election. These things are going to be up there, and you're going to be asked directly. And then the liberal activist media, they're not going to give up on the cause. They can soft walk it a little bit, but they at some point believe also they're the hero and they need to stand up for the transgender community. So if it looks like you're abandoning them, at some point, the media is going to get more aggressive in their questioning. And that's where you draw the line. You have to make a clear statement as to where you stand. That will not be tolerated.
Well, you see the pushback from not Gavin Newsom saying that he's going to rescind the law or push to rescind the law. He simply said, I believe in some cases it can be unfair to women.
Right.
And you see the nightmare that's created for them already.
Exactly.
Can you imagine
yeah.
all the other issues?
Right.
He didn't say, I'm going to rescind this or I'm going to push for this or I'm against this law and I was wrong to support the law before.
Right.
He's doing the same thing. Well, yes, it can be unfair to women, but we need the balance and we need the, you throw out all the crap.
Inclusion, blah, blah,
right,
blah, blah, blah,
yada,
blah,
yada,
blah,
yada.
blah.
Exactly.
There needs to be a balance, and it should be, and blah, 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 both sides, all sides, blah, blah, blah. No! When Title IX came to be, it wasn't about, listen, we'll allow both sides, meaning men and women. It's all about, everybody. It's about inclusion. No, it's not. Title IX is clearly not about including men. It's the whole point.
Right, exactly.
For the love of garbage, man.
866-90 Red Eye.
Coming up, more with Gary McNamara and Eric Harley. It's Red Eye Radio.
It's Red Eye Radio. He's Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Welcome and good morning. Ooh, to see Elon Musk posted in the last couple of minutes and Donald Trump's statement over the weekend concerning Greenland, which is a little bit different than what he might have been saying a month ago on it. Plus, we're talking about the radical transgender movement in California and Gavin Newsome. Oh, wow. Wait till you see how one college attempted to address it. And boy, did it backfire. Coming up.
This is Red Eye Radio on Westwood One. Now, it's Red Eye Radio. Gary McNamara and Eric Harley talk about everything from politics to social issues and news of the day. Whether you're up late or you're just starting your day, welcome to the show. From the Uniden America Studios, this is Red Eye Radio.
All across America, we are at Red Eye Radio. He's Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Daylight savings with an S. Savings with an S. S. Daylight savings. Daylight savings. Daylight savings. I'm not going to say daylight saving. You know why? I just want to tick off all those people on social media that were absolutely going ballistic that anybody referred to it as daylight savings.
Yeah, the correct version is saving.
It's daylight saving. Well, I don't care.
Yeah.
I'm going to say savings. Why? To tick you off.
It's amazing how many news groups get it wrong, too. I saw one headline. The headline was wrong with inside the story when you open the story.
Oh, was it really?
The story was correct.
Yeah. We understand the concept, though.
Yeah.
But we actually aren't saving anything.
There's no saying, listen, we negotiated with the sun. And this is what we got. This is the agreement we came to. It's not, doesn't work that way.
If the sun doesn't cooperate, sun tariffs.
That's right. We will, listen. You may think you rule the universe, son. But our economy is much stronger than the Earth's economy is much stronger than the sun's.
But, Trump was right on it over the weekend. Well, nobody's going to agree on which one to go to.
I've been saying that for years.
Yeah.
Because I've always said, yeah, I don't care. Forget about my preference. I don't care. Pick one. Ready? Go. You can't. It's not going to happen.
Right.
Because, well, kids will go to school in the dark. I don't care. It's not me going to school in the dark.
And the other way would be some places in the Midwest, the sun would be up by 4:30 or 4:45.
Yeah.
I saw that one where they were looking at some of the places in the Midwest. If you kept, I believe, standard time.
Right. Yeah. So, I mean, you can't, that's why you can't choose it.
Right.
It's because half of the people complain every time we change the clock. Well, everybody, it seems these days, that has a voice complains every time we change the clock. But just tell the group, tell the collective, choose one. It won't happen.
Well, I visited Dad over the weekend and didn't get back. My flight didn't get back into Dallas till a little bit after midnight.
Mm-hmm.
And so by the time I got home and everything else and said, okay, I'm going to go to sleep, it was 1 o'clock. No, it's 2 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, I'm going to be screwed completely.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to be totally, jet lagged
Mm-hmm.
just because of the time shift is going to, I said all day Sunday, I went to sleep at, then 2, woke up at 6, got 4 hours sleep. I'm like, I'm okay. Went back to sleep at 4:30. I'm feeling fine. I'm like, uh-oh.
Mm-hmm.
Did I get through this? Because normally, even if I get normal, sleep pattern, it does affect my sleep. And, when you work, as we know, the first shift, not the third shift, we call it the first shift.
Mm-hmm. We start the day. The day starts at midnight.
Right. Everybody is sensitive. We all know it. If you work this shift, you know it. If your sleep pattern gets off, you're like, oh, God.
Yeah.
How am I going to get over this?
Right.
But, yeah, I just love the people. First, I love the people arguing back and forth. It's like, well, you're not going to win the argument.
Yeah,
because it's personal preference.
It's about preference.
Right. You're not going to win.
You're not changing the amount of sun that we get during any given day. That happens naturally. You can't negotiate that. You can't legislate that. We'll change the clock. Okay, let's change it 5 hours. I mean, if we really want to have some fun.
No, let's change it 5 hours so we can become the day shift.
Exactly.
That's what to do.
Yeah.
And stop this discrimination of all of us that have to be up at this time of night.
Right.
Let's stop it. Change the clock 5 or 6 hours.
Right. Because on that weekend, when we go back 5 hours, it's like, oh, yeah. Yeah, back-to-back parties.
Why are we the ones always being discriminated against? Let's discriminate against other people and give them more darkness during the day.
And if you really want it to be popular, the time when we change the clock forward, because what's this garbage at 2 a.m.? Nobody, our boss says it every night, nobody pays attention to anything that happens at 2 a.m. He's been telling us that for years. So here's how you do it. Just on the time of year when we move forward, spring forward, 4 p.m. Friday. And Mike Reno of Loverboy makes the announcement. And we have a whistle like the beginning of the Flintstones, Yabba dabba do. Let's all go. Come on. 4 o'clock on Friday. Because why should we have to wait until Sunday morning at 2 a.m.? Does it matter? It doesn't matter.
I was waiting for the Fox News headline, social media explodes with daylight saving time.
Right. Exactly.
Because they had a couple last week. It's like almost every day. They have social media explodes every single hour.
Right. And I'll say this, too. In the fall, when we fall back, we do that Monday morning at 8 a.m. Because
extra hour.
Yeah,
of work.
you're just it's like, well, at 2 a.m. It's not disruptive. No. Let's go further. Let's make it work for everybody. Where everybody's going, oh man, yeah, this is this is the day we get off an hour early.
I mean, right now, all it affects is bartenders and those people that are drinking.
Right. Exactly. I think a lot of state laws, though, like at 2 a.m. when you fall back, I don't think in our state you stay open. You can't stay open.
Well, see.
Well, you can't serve. I mean, I guess they could
Right.
stay open, but they can't serve.
When you come from a community where the bars are open, you serve alcohol till 4, and the bars have to close at 4:30.
Right. Exactly.
It does extend it.
Right, exactly. 2 more hours. Start singing some Bay City Rollers.
Seriously, in where I grew up in Western New York, well, at least in Erie County. I don't know if Niagara County, where Niagara Falls is. I think their hours may be a little bit different. But when I grew up in Erie County, I remember because when I was a club DJ, the last beer at 4, but you're open till 4:30 to finish it. I can't tell you how many times. I remember when I worked at Stage 1, which was Harvey Weinstein's club. People who don't know it, Harvey Weinstein first started out he went to University of Buffalo, and he was a rock promoter, Harvey and Corky Productions. So he was a co-partner in it, and they bought, they had the Century Theater down there. Then they also booked for the big arena at the time, which was Memorial Auditorium. Then they had their smaller club, Stage 1. I remember after work, we employees sitting out in the parking lot talking, watching the sunrise.
Yeah.
Did that many times. My gosh. And I remember that you would go out to see a band on a Friday or Saturday night, and they would do 3 sets. The first set would start at 11.
Yeah.
Now I want the third set, I don't know, to be done by 7 o'clock.
Yeah.
Start at 4. Everything, all classic rock concerts should start at 4 in the afternoon and be done by 7.
How you guys feeling out there?
There's no reason.
Yeah.
To have classic rock shows start even at 8 o'clock and go to 10:30.
Well, that's it. And,
we're not getting to sleep till 11:30, 12.
And stop with the rapport with the audience. How you guys feeling? Hey, listen, I'm paying a babysitter. That's how I'm feeling. Quit with the talking. More rocking, would ya? And stop it with this encore thing. We know you're coming back. Just finish the concert and be done.
You're taking an extra 5 minutes out of my life, and I know you're coming back.
I don't need that. I'm tired. That's how I'm feeling.
We're old, we're tired. Play the damn music and let us go home.
Come on.
And we're irritable.
That's right. And I've got to complain about the hot dogs. Somebody eating hot dogs at a concert.
Oh my gosh.
I'm having nachos.
Somebody. That's so funny because when I was in Buffalo just this past weekend, to see my dad, there was a survey out that the worst football stadium for like amenities is Highmark Stadium in Buffalo. The concessions and everything else. Somebody starts talking about the hot dogs, and it's nothing like the modern stadiums. I mean, so much is, and the new stadium they're building will be great, but that was a stadium built over 50 years ago. So I mean, it's just everything's open, the wind's blowing through, and the concessions are there. But the concessions weren't always the greatest. But as I was looking at the story, I was at Buffalo General Hospital. With my dad. And so I left. I'm going home. I take a ride, to get back to the airport. And I go right by Jefferson and Best, which is where War Memorial Stadium was, which if you've ever seen the movie The Natural, that's where The Natural was filmed. That's where the Bills played before they built, it became Rich Stadium, and they moved in 73. And I had been there many times before, and I had just read about some guy talking about a hot dog, and I remember having a wrinkled hot dog on the most stale bun you could possibly ever imagine at that War Memorial Stadium, the old rock pile.
Yeah.
And they still have the entrances there. It was knocked down years ago, but they kept the entrances as like a
right.
And
yeah.
it's like an athletic field with a bunch of different when I'm going by, I'm thinking of that hot dog. You just reminded me of it. Boy, that was a horrible hot dog.
Yeah.
But the thing is, I was a kid and I ate it.
Oh yeah.
Well,
you're a kid. It's a hot dog, and
it was given to me, and I was hungry.
Right. It's not like you're going to write a review. It's a hot dog.
So, all right, coming up next, we were talking about the radical transgender movement. Just this one story out of California. My God, how they're trying to solve the problem at one California college that just blew up in their face.
You need to learn how to pronounce the name of the state there. It's not that hard.
California.
Everybody knows.
Oh, by the way, talking about that, we were talking about, remember last week about Billy Joe Armstrong?
Yeah.
You see, he wants to buy a part in a new baseball team or something. That's so punk.
Yeah, exactly. Investing in a sports team.
866-90-RED-EYE.
Lines open for your calls. 866-90-RED-EYE on Red Eye Radio.
It's Red Eye Radio. He's Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. As we talked about earlier, the response of Democrats to Gavin Newsom, governor of California, saying that he thinks that the radical transgender movement is unfair to women athletes, but didn't say he would reverse the law.
Right.
But it sent Democrats into a tizzy. But just to show you how crazy it gets, a California university is doing away with traditional men and women's locker rooms in an effort to support transgender students, even as the state's governor condemns transgender athletes in female sports. The University of California, Davis announced plans last month to renovate the locker rooms at its Activities and Recreation Center, citing student feedback as motivation. We value inclusive, accessible environments that accommodate the diverse needs of our community, school officials said. We are pleased to announce we will be remodeling the current locker room facilities to implement universal locker rooms.
Universal.
Where all men can come in.
That's right.
Not just trans women.
Universal. Inclusive for everyone.
Co-ed.
That's right.
Co-ed. This is a way to solve it.
Right.
All campus and recreation members can use our universal locker rooms regardless of who they are and how they identify.
See?
But some students expressed concerns about the safety of the universal locker rooms, which were seized upon by critics of the transgender movement. And so the university revised its statement. It now says all campus recreation members will be able to use our new locker rooms. These spaces include ADA accessible facilities for members with disabilities, but they leave out gender identity.
Right.
But under the plans, you go, wait a minute, but are you going to have universal? How can you do that and make it universal? Under the plans for the new locker room, the university would offer a handful of private rooms and changing rooms and toilet rooms with floor-to-ceiling walls and doors. Renderings also show that separate men's, women's, and gender-inclusive bathrooms would still be made available to students, but the plan has drawn some scrutiny from community members. One student said, I get that the school wants to be more inclusive for gender-expansive people,
gender expansive.
Yep. But the locker room is supposed to be a place for people to feel safe. Women already have to worry about men looking at them when they're working out, and adding men to their locker rooms is just wrong. The same can be said about men who just want to be comfortable in their own bodies, but are on edge because there are women nearby who might see them. See, because all men don't have perfect bodies like Eric and myself.
Right.
You know.
Yeah.
That we know there can only be one reaction from a woman of how gorgeous we are.
Yeah. We don't want to shock anybody.
Another student said, it's going to feel a lot more comfortable for me, and I'm sure other people are going to feel the same. I change in front of my locker and use moisturizer because that's where all my stuff is, and now I'll have to be doing that in front of the opposite gender as well. He said it's going to feel a lot more uncomfortable, not comfortable. I said comfortable.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
We won't get into the moisturizer comment.
No.
A third also questioned the safety of the proposal. See, but I mean, they're just losing it. They're just losing it.
Well, and what they lose sight of, too, is that, see, if you're trying to do this whole universal thing and be ambiguous about it, right, then what are you doing? Well, you're abandoning the movement. When you abandon the movement, no, we don't care how you identify. Oh, you can't say that. That's as bad as Biden on the campaign trail in 2020. How many genders are there, Joe? 3. Wrong answer.
Catch all 5 hours of the show live every night on the Red Eye Radio app, available in the App Store. Red Eye Radio.
And he is Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Welcome and good morning. Thanks so much for being here this morning. Saw Elon Musk posted this within the last hour, Trump from Truth Social. As I made clear during my joint address to Congress, the United States strongly supports the people of Greenland's right to determine their own future. We will continue to keep you safe, as we have since World War II. We are ready to invest billions of dollars to create new jobs and make you rich. And if you so choose, we welcome you to be part of the greatest nation anywhere in the world, the United States of America. There you go.
Yeah, all right.
Very inviting.
Yeah. You know, that's how you said it. That's the tone you want to say. Come on. You guys are Greenland. What else are you going to do? What else you got?
Put the green in Greenland. And we don't mean environmental stuff.
Before Trump brought it up, when's the last time anyone was talking about Greenland, even within Greenland? Come on. You guys are part of the conversation now. This is your shot. Take it. Go into business with the U.S. You won't regret it. Trust us. Yeah, it's, you show them the incentive, right? It's an interesting conversation when you get into military strategy and everything else, but, you start with the incentive. And I think that's a good way to approach after we invade and take over Canada.
Well, that was another thing. I talked to probably 20 people over the weekend, all Trump supporters.
Yeah.
Every one of them against the tariffs on Canada. Every single one.
Yeah.
And they were asking me, what the hell's wrong with them?
Well, and Carney winning the election and basically saying, look, we're going to leave we're going to have to do things we haven't done before. We're going to have to do them fairly quickly. And this is something we'll keep everything in place until this is done, basically.
Well, that's the thing. Do I have the audio cut from Letnick over the weekend here? Because in his thing, he's making it sound like the only reason we're doing this is to bring tariffs down across the board.
Right.
That's our goal.
Right.
And it's, that's part of the problem. And that's part of what I've gotten from every single Republican. They said, well, what does he want to do? On one hand, he said he just wants to go, it's reciprocal after the reciprocal tariffs. And Lutnick's talking about that. And then, the whole goal is to bring it down. I thought I saved it. I don't know if I have it here. I guess I did. I guess I didn't save it. I'll see if I can find it there in the next couple of minutes. It was Lutnick over the weekend, the Commerce Secretary, saying, no, we need to, putting the tariffs on now will bring the tariffs down and we can have, free trade.
Right.
Is what he wants to do. So they're making the argument that it's just reciprocal.
Right, yeah.
But in the other case, when you say that we're going to support all the taxes will be raised by tariffs, you're indicating they're not going to go away.
Right.
And so nobody knows, and there's confusion. And I think every single financial publication I have read, because it's obvious, history shows it, is confusion does not bring in tons of investment. Confusion stops investment.
Yeah, you muddy the waters.
Right.
If everyone is unsure, then everyone is going to pause. You park your cash or whatever you're going to do on investments. You're going to hit the brakes until you find out where this is all going.
And so that's really the challenge. And then, as we know, you have Mark Carney now, who's going to replace Trudeau.
Mm-hmm.
Now, people understand what happened to Polyev. Well, he's what happens is when Justin Trudeau steps down, because it's a liberal government now,
right?
Then Carney will take over. Carney is as far left as you can possibly imagine.
Oh yeah.
He's as far left.
Yeah.
You look at his history; it's just unbelievably far left, and so there could be an overall election sometime soon, or it's scheduled to be October right now.
Right.
And then Polyev would still lead by a couple of points over Carney at the moment. But I think the thing that's interesting is, from listening to paying attention to the media in Canada, both being there this weekend and listening and watching some TV and radio and everything else.
So let me interject real quick. People in Buffalo watch the Canadian news. I mean, that's a thing, right? You tune into the Canadian news.
I would say it's probably more the opposite, that more Canadians watch American TV.
Okay.
But it's there. You can listen to it. I mean, you can watch it. I mean, it's on, it's CBC. Everybody you can get from Toronto and Hamilton, whatever, and then the radio, the talk radio, and then just go to social media. People talk about it here. Yeah, whatever. There, it's war. I mean, I've never heard such anger at the United States as I hear right now. And that anger is being used by politicians. Understand that there's anger, number one. Number two, the Canadians believe that Trump blinked first.
Yeah.
Just so people understand where they are.
Right.
They look at Trump, he blinked first.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that he put him on, then rescinded him, they said, and you notice the Canadians, when Trump said, okay, I'm going to put a delay on it, they didn't put a delay on their tariffs.
No, they didn't.
They said, nope, we're keeping the tariffs on.
Right.
Until we settle this, the tariffs stay. So the tariffs around the United States right now, where Trump has rescinded them for, till April 2nd?
Mm-hmm.
On it. Also, automobiles. The Canadian government believes Trump blinked big time over the weekend when he said, the tariffs on the cars are going to come back. And then some of the figures started coming out from the American manufacturers.
Right.
Saying you put these tariffs on, it's going to add $20,000 to a truck and $8,000 to a car.
The dealerships are scrambling right now.
and you're saying, well, build them in America. If you build them in America, the prices are still going to be increased because so many of the parts of the cars cross the border 5 and 6 times.
Yeah,
and
right.
so when Trump came up, and that was out there, and again, they're out there saying it's not going to cause, you're not going to get inflation because of it.
Right.
And then when the dealerships, the American dealerships, start saying, "What are you talking about?" It's going to, the one dealership that showed they immediately increased one truck. What was it? 20,000.
Yeah.
And then 8,000. They believe up to 8,000 for vehicles. These are from the dealerships now. American dealerships are saying it, and American lobbyists for American car companies are saying it. And then Trump comes out and says, well, what we need to do is put the tariffs on, and if you buy a car, all your interest will be deductible. Well, Congress would have to pass that. I don't see Congress passing that.
Right.
That you could deduct the interest on your car loan. And the other thing is, too, the other countries immediately responded to that saying, well, if you're saying a VAT tax or a national sales tax is a tariff on you, then you're just saying we're going to put another tariff, on us. Because by doing that, by giving a deduction for the interest, that's a tariff.
Yeah, right.
If you're going to go in that direction. But the Canadians, without question, just so people understand, they believe the president has blinked. And they believe that when they said, again, last week, there's not going to cause inflation, then that's going to cause inflation. Then that story came out from American dealerships, and then the president came out and said, well, we'll keep the tariffs on and then give a, huge deduction, for people on their, did I say car insurance?
No. Interest.
Okay. The loan interest, your loan interest, you will be able to deduct from your income tax. They, at that point, saw the President Trump blinking again, admitting the tariffs will drastically raise the cost of automobiles and that you would need to give people relief somehow.
Yeah, tax incentive means that you're trying to mitigate the pain.
Yep.
And it's not going to, because then I asked a question earlier about banks and qualifying buyers, right? Depending on your credit, if you don't have great credit, you go in to buy something, it costs you a higher interest rate. Well, when you go in and then the price jumps 25% because of tariffs, you're still borrowing that money, which means you're borrowing more money, but you're not more qualified as a result of the tariffs. Your credit score is your credit score. So it means, okay, you're going to borrow more money, which is a massive impact on that, which is why they do the whole interest rate thing, this idea of floating a deduction for your interest rates. Well, I wonder about the qualifications on, when it comes to banks and how that's going to change those interest rates on those not so perfect borrowers. That's right. These are all the things, these are all the impacts on multiple layers. And it's happening right now, I would say in real time, but because of the delay, it's really kind of the wait and see. But dealerships are looking at this as, well, no, I mean, we assume it's going to go forward April 2nd. We assume everything's going to move forward. We don't take anything for granted. We have to prepare this because we have to plan for business. Mm-hmm. April 2nd is a few weeks away.
But it's interesting to the politics of it, where the Canadians believe the president has blinked and their government is not, because their government did not rescind the tariffs.
Right.
When Trump put it on, they put on their tariffs.
Mm-hmm.
When the president said a delay, they said, sorry, we're not going to do it. They view, now we'll see how long, if their prices, if their prices start going up, well, the public will continue to back it. But even Trudeau's numbers and the left's numbers have gone up. And the longer that they continue to, scream as they have the last couple of weeks, we're not going to rescind our tariffs.
Right.
They view the president backing off, putting the tariffs on, then backing off numerous times as a weakness of Trump. They don't view it as a negotiating point.
No.
They view it that Trump knows prices are going to go up, and they pay attention. Everybody pays attention to what the economic outlook is for the United States, what the first quarter's looking like, the job, job creation, consumer confidence that came out that was the lowest in a long, long time. They look at it and they go, nope, Trump blinked. We haven't blinked. He's blinked.
Right.
And then, like I said, this weekend with the suggestion of the interest, it's like, okay, he knows cars are going to get hit, and he's going to get hit hard on it from people who want to buy cars. Therefore, he came up with the suggestion of all interest is deductible off your federal income tax.
Right.
They view that as Trump blinking. Just so you know, all right? I mean, people should know what the other side is thinking. And being up there this weekend, that's what I got from the Canadian media.
Yeah.
And what the actual politicians are saying, what the new, who should be prime minister whenever Trudeau resigns, at least for a while. It might only be a month, might only be a couple of weeks. If they hold another election, might be till October. But it seems like across the board, they're saying, nope, our tariffs stay.
Yeah.
Now, there was the thing where, Alberta disagrees with it.
Right.
We know Alberta disagrees with what's going on with the government there, and they're trying to sell a ton of oil to us. But they also view Trudeau coming over and telling Trump these tariffs would be disastrous on us. They believe that was the wrong move for Trudeau.
Yeah.
They said we need to say the exact same thing he's saying, but not back off.
Right. Right.
And so it'll be interesting to see what happens here.
Yep.
866-90 Red Eye.
Get in touch with Red Eye Radio, toll free at 866-90 Red Eye.
It's Red Eye Radio. He's our Carly. I'm Gary McNamara. Quickly, I want to play this from Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick on Meet the Press.
Anybody who bets against Donald Trump, it's like the same people who thought Donald Trump wasn't a winner a year ago. Donald Trump is a winner. He's going to win for the American people. That's just the way it's going to be. There's going to be no recession in America. What there's going to be is global tariffs are going to come down because President Trump has said, you want to charge us 100%? We're going to charge you 100%. And you know what they say? They say, no, don't charge us 100%. We'll bring ours down.
All right, and that's interesting because what they're saying is we're just targeting, his message is we're just targeting the unfairness and the reciprocal tariffs. These are just reciprocal because they put it on us.
Right.
Well, that's a change in messaging from just a week ago or 2 weeks ago, that the tariffs are going to remain permanent, and that's how we're going to fund the U.S. government.
And this is how you get to market uncertainty.
Well, the Canadians view that statement from Lutnick as the president again blinking.
Yeah.
This is Red Eye Radio on Westwood One. Now, it's Red Eye Radio. Gary McNamara and Eric Harley talk about everything from politics to social issues and news of the day. Whether you're up late or you're just starting your day, welcome to the show. From the Uniden America Studios, this is Red Eye Radio.
All across America and around the planet, we are Red Eye Radio. He is Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. All right, just reading some of the headlines here.
All right.
From the Babylon Bee. Transgender mouse obliterates female mouse in laboratory MMA event. Oh, my gosh. Oh, wow.
Wow.
That's great. Ladies and gentlemen, we've got him. RFK announces SEAL Team 6 has neutralized the Kool-Aid Man. And there's a picture of the Kool-Aid.
Right.
Uh-oh. NBA players demand to be paid what they're worth, and now they owe the NBA $400 million. Oh, my gosh, that over the weekend, it was like, we need to be paid what we're worth. I'm like, wow. Do people know how that works?
Mm.
What? What are you worth?
Yeah.
How
do you build the valuation in that, right?
Yeah, you're bringing money in?
Mm.
Are you making a profit? No. Well, you're going to have a problem showing your worth.
Yeah.
That's just the reality. In most businesses, excluding government, you're judged by the positive that you bring in.
Right.
And maybe, hopefully, now in government you will be too. Oh, it's just greatness, though. But that was the couple of the Babylon Bee headlines. Getting back, and by the way, don't get mad at me. I'm just telling you what we'll see whether the Canadians stick with it or not. I'm just telling you what they're saying from being up there this past weekend. So don't yell at me. I'm just telling you, that they believe that Trump has blinked on the tariffs by announcing the tariffs. Then within a day, especially, moving back when the stock market was 2 days in a row went down, anticipating it then the day after, and then rescinded it for a month. And Canada said, no, we're not rescinding ours. We're not going to do this until we come to some type of permanent agreement. We're not going to do it.
Right.
And it gets down to where tariffs and a trade war normally get down to. Who's going to be hurt the most? And then what type of a deal are you going to do when you do it? Canadians are on war footing right now, I'm telling you. I've never heard what I've heard in the media this weekend in Canada towards the United States, ever. Ever. And so the fact that, and this is, I'm telling you how they view it. They view, since Trump put the tariffs in and then postpone them, they view that as Trump blinking. They know they believe that Trump now understands a tariff is going to hurt the United States. And the public is not as invested in it as the Canadian public is, which they believe is in war footing right now. They believe the United States has economically attacked them.
Well, and they're on the left, they're clearly taking advantage here with Mark Carney.
Yes.
Winning the race over the weekend. He got 86% of the votes. And he had a quote here: "My government will keep our tariffs on until the Americans show us respect."
Yeah. So this is how they view it. They say Trump has blinked, and he blinked again with the car tariffs when he came out and said, well, we're still going to put the car tariffs on, and I'm going to try to get a tax deduction for interest that you pay on your vehicle.
Right.
When you purchase a vehicle, the interest that you pay would be tax deductible in order to, and to them, it's like he's acknowledged it's going to skyrocket the cost of automobiles.
You're trying to mitigate the pain.
Yep. And the other thing is, I saw this more on social media. Canada's talking about it like crazy. They haven't in America, but I saw it more on social media over the weekend. It's like, what's he talking about? Because Trump put out himself that list that was out there. Here are the tariffs that Canada's putting on us. Those tariffs that he mentioned, the majority of those tariffs are after you sold a certain amount to the United States with no tariffs whatsoever. It's a production limit that's actually in USMCA. Trump said, well, he's not going to do anything for a month with those products that are covered under USMCA, but everything else he is. Well, everything else was left out of USMCA on purpose.
Right.
They all agreed to it. It was a trade agreement on everything if they left it out. That the Canadians are going crazy because they say Trump is blaming them for a deal that he created and created alone.
Right.
USMCA was not approved. Was when that was done, it went to Congress, but it was a done deal. Trump alone negotiated USMCA. It was his trade representatives. He got exactly what he wanted. And when he got it, he said it was the best trade deal ever. And now he's saying it's horrendous. And the Canadians are going, what the hell's he talking about? He did the deal. Nobody else did the deal. He did the deal. He did the contract. And now he's screaming that the contract is unfair. He's not saying renegotiating the contract.
We haven't heard anything on, because who was it? Kevin O'Leary last week?
Yeah.
Said, yeah, we're going to have NAFTA 3 and it's going to be great. I haven't heard that from the Trump administration.
I did see one of the economic publications said if he's going to wants to renegotiate USMCA, then do it.
We said that.
Yeah, we said
numerous times.
Yeah. And he said, but and I started seeing Americans now, Republicans especially, because as you notice, how many Republicans in Congress are saying yeah to the tariffs?
I don't know any of them that are real cheerleaders.
No, there's not real cheerleaders because they're looking at this going, what's going on? So I'm just telling you the way the Canadians could completely fold when the price hits them. But you look at the fact that how much do you have invested in it if prices go up? If prices go up in the United States, most people don't view Canada as the enemy.
Right.
You know, there isn't that much invested in tariffing Canadian products in the United States. It just isn't. There is now in Canada because they believe Donald Trump has declared war on them. Fairly or unfairly, justifiable or not, I'm just telling you, that's how they feel. And the government now believes the people are on war footing in Canada, and that's why they didn't drop the tariffs after Trump postponed them. They said, nope, they're staying on.
Right. Yep.
And so in their mind, they haven't blinked. Trump continues to blink not once, but 2 or 3 times on putting tariffs in and then pulling them back the day after the stock market drops.
And now we're just a few weeks from April 2nd. So we get close to that deadline. What happens?
Yeah. Well, the question I got from every Republican, every single Republican, who, by the way, reciprocal tariffs against the EU that haven't been negotiated or just, that they just, put in, or China, they have no problem with that at all.
Right.
The Canada thing's a big problem with almost all Republicans.
Well, and if you're
in
trying
fact,
to...
every Republican I talked to, that was a huge problem. They said, why? What is the end game here? Nobody can figure out what the end game is.
If you're trying to get back to the table on USMCA, then say it.
Yeah.
Promote it. That we didn't get everything done, whatever. But there's going to have to be some clarity. And there's been anything but. Right now, really, the markets, the world is looking at this saying, well, we have to take him for his word. We have to assume that tariffs are going to be put on. And that if that's the case, it's going to involve other nations.
Right.
And that's kind of how everybody is reacting here. The OEMs, the car makers, the dealerships right now are scrambling.
Well,
I saw that they were promoting, by the way, I don't know if they're doing this on their social media. I personally didn't see any ads. But they're basically getting the word out. If you want to buy a vehicle, buy it now before any tariff is slapped on a vehicle. That's going to be, that could come after April 2nd. So get out there and get a deal.
The fentanyl argument was brought up again, but it seems to be less and less and less of the fentanyl argument now.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, what's it about? Because that's been asked, what do they have to meet? What is the goal on fentanyl that they have to meet?
Right.
But then the president himself, when asked, well, even if they agree to the fentanyl things, this goes back a couple of weeks ago, even if they agree and you think they've done well on the fentanyl, tariffs will be gone completely because you say you want to actually have a tax system that's based on tariffs. He said, no, the tariffs aren't going away.
Right,
so the Canadians aren't viewing this as just a fentanyl thing. They believe you've said no matter whether you do the fentanyl, whether you secure the border or not. And then there's the other argument. Well, wait a minute. Why aren't you securing your border on your side? We're doing what we can here. fentanyl, you can sneak in such a small amount that can kill people, as you know, because that was brought up, the amount that's actually brought in. But you guys are the market. You're the demand. What are you doing? That's coming from Canada. What are you doing? You're the people. You're the market. You're the market for it. If nobody was buying it, it wouldn't be, smuggled through here. And so, like I said, I look at it and I don't know what's going to happen. Never know. I'm just telling you what the Canadians are on war footing on keeping the tariffs in. Americans are not. The president may be, but they view the president as blinking numerous times on this because he has acknowledged there will be hurt for the American public.
Yep.
And so now it's, okay, which government is willing to take the most hurt in this trade war?
Well, the Liberal Party in Canada, too, has effectively politically put this on Trump. We were forced to do this. The pain you're going to feel is because of Trump. Blame Trump, blame Trump, blame Trump. And they clearly use that to their advantage. And I think that's what Mark Carney used to his advantage. We'll see where it goes because, he's likely to call an election here in the next couple of weeks, most believe. We don't know when that election will be held, but he'll probably call for one in the next couple of weeks. So we'll see if it's working to their advantage. Do they think, okay, let's call for an election, but it's not going to be right away. Let's say it's in a month or whatever. Let's say it's in 2 months, whatever it is. Or
right now it's scheduled for October.
October is the schedule, yes.
As soon as Trudeau says, I step down, Carney becomes the prime minister.
Yes.
Now, there could be an election called in the next month or so, but they may say, for consistency's sake, let's move it back. Because the Liberals are actually, Polyev is down in the polls a little bit. The left is up a little bit.
Right.
The left is up.
Right.
Trudeau's numbers actually went up after all of this.
Yeah.
His polling numbers.
And it's, we'll see if what's going to happen if the Liberal Party, gains ground because of this. Because Polyev is more aligned with Trump. Either way, well, by the way, Polyev is not a fan of what's going on either.
No, he's not.
But the anger part of it, the voter anger, public anger sentiment right now is working for the left in Canada. I don't know in a larger election if that's going to still be the case. I just don't know. I haven't seen the numbers yet, and we'll see. But if you're trying to get back to the table on USMCA, you need to be very clear. It's kind of all over the place because the idea is, and they've acknowledged in a number of ways so far, the Trump administration and the surrogates, people are going to feel pain. Hopefully it won't be too much, and we'll do everything we can to mitigate that. Well, that's not going to be enough. Because if people don't see prices coming down, and again, whether it's reasonable or not, people wanted prices to come down. They wanted the effect of inflation to go away. Well, that's not going to happen. At best, prices will continue to rise at roughly a 2% rate year over year. They're not coming down. So you have to do other things to make, again, the economy run even better in order to make people, stronger when it comes to their buying power. But you can't win that. The auto dealerships, by the way, are going to be the ones that have the media focus. The OEMs, their CEOs will be out there. But if these tariffs go into full effect, every local station will be at dealerships all over town, and that will have a massive effect politically about how much more it's adding to the cost of a car. That's not good.
866-90-RED-I.
Brought to you by Hot Shot Secret.
Hi, I'm Jen Loomis, a transport safety expert at J.J. Keller, and I'm here to share a tip on roadside inspections. At a roadside inspection, inspectors may ask to see supporting documents. A supporting document is a document generated or received by a motor carrier in the normal course of business that can be used by law enforcement to verify a driver's logs. These documents can include bills of lading, itineraries, schedules, or equivalent documents that indicate the origin and destination of each trip. They can also include dispatch or trip records, expense receipts related to on-duty/not driving periods, including receipts for meals, lodging, and fuel, electronic mobile communication transmitted through a fleet management system, and payroll records, settlement sheets, or equivalent documents that indicate payment to a driver. Drivers using paper logs must also keep toll receipts. Supporting documents must contain the driver's name, carrier-assigned identification number or vehicle unit number that can be linked to the driver, the date, the name of the nearest city, town, or village, and the time. This tip was brought to you by J.J. Keller and Associates. Visit us at jjkeller.com.
We'll be right back with more Red Eye Radio with Eric Harley and Gary McNamara.
It's Red Eye Radio. He's Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Welcome and good morning. Well, will the government be shut down this coming Friday? We'll get to a lot more specifics coming up on the bottom of the hour. But right now, the bill in the House, continuing resolution, will maintain current funding levels. The bill adds $6 billion for defense above current levels and some more for border security. That will be offset by $13 billion in reductions in other areas. So, a lot of people saying, but they're not cutting the budget, to match what DOJ is doing.
Right.
Well, when you see a continuing resolution here, which would be a 6-month resolution where there's no increase in spending, that in itself could be viewed in some arenas as a victory, not necessarily my arena.
No increase is a cut, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No increase is because of inflation, everything else. It's a cut. Wall Street Journal, there's a lousy way to run a government with continuing resolutions, especially for the military that needs flexibility to shift accounts to meet new threats. But it may be the best Congress can do to avoid a shutdown that would accomplish little beyond contributing to the narrative of Trump chaos that the Democrats are promoting if they don't pass it.
Catch all 5 hours of the show live every night on the Red Eye Radio app. Available in the App Store. Red Eye Radio.
And he's Eric Harley, and I'm McNamara. Good morning. Yeah, so for this continuing resolution to fund the government till September 30th, funding at current levels. A little bit more for defense and the border, but then cuts otherwise that would keep the spending the same. If you don't get the Republican votes to do it, we know the Democrats will take advantage of that. And if you need Democrat votes to do it, it means an increase in spending. And also, if you want it passed, a reduction in what Elon Musk could do when it comes to promoting the cutting.
Right. Yeah.
So that's the politics of it there. The politics of it, if they pass it, is the fact that then it goes to the Senate. Can you get 60 votes? This is not under reconciliation.
Right. Yeah.
If you don't get the votes, the Democrats get the blame.
Right.
And so that's what they're looking. And, but it shouldn't be about politics. And I wish there wasn't gravity so I could fly.
Yeah,
it's
a given.
That's the reality of it. So, how do you get there? You get there first by, okay, this continuing resolution, can we get it passed without any, new spending? I mean, there is a little bit of new spending. I mean, minor new spending. I mean, the $6 billion they're talking about, or whatever it is, and for military and the border to be offset by, which would total $13 billion to be offset by $13 billion in other cuts, is really not a lot of money when you look at the entire budget.
Right.
So if you keep the spending to what it was, that in itself is a small victory. Actually, it's a huge victory, but I don't want to say it's a huge victory because I don't want anybody to think, well, we get this done, then we don't have to do anything else. No, it's just the beginning of the process.
Right. It's a good start.
Yeah. But that's simply the politics. If you don't get it passed, then the Democrats can say, well, Republicans can't do it. Then Republicans start fighting. Then it comes to the point where you're going to need half of Republicans to agree with a lot more spending and maybe to agree that, some type of the legislation that would be anti-Elon Musk and Doge from, trying to cut. That's the problem that you face here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you get it done in the House, send it over to the Senate. The Democrats don't get it done. You can blame it on them.
Right.
And I guess we'll see what happens.
You say Democrats shut down the government.
Right.
And you can say we're still spending the exact same amount of money as the last 6 months.
Right.
So public's going to say, okay, Democrats shut it down. We put our bill in, it keeps spending the same.
Mm-hmm.
Most Americans, especially with Doge, would say, well, I expect you'd cut some. And Democrats won't, we can't get any Democrat to vote, to reduce at all.
Right. Right.
They're eventually going to have to do that. When is that time? Is that time now? It's never the time at the present, though.
No.
To start actually cutting.
Right. They should have the framework for a resolution that would, in the year 2089, begin a committee that would look into discussing the framework for reducing spending by the year 3096.
It'll happen like that meme I saw with a 80-year-old Greta saying the Earth's. She looks. I mean, they cur.
Yeah.
And made her an 80-year-old woman, and it said, "Yep." And it was like, this is 2080 or something like that. It goes,
yeah.
Yep, the world's going to be gone in 20 years.
Yeah. It keeps saying it.
Greta Thunberg.
Yeah. And also, she in that AI aged picture looks a lot like Hillary.
I know. As an older woman, she looks
like
like
I
Hillary.
had to take a second look. I was like, that's Hillary?
Is that Hillary?
Yeah. But, yeah, the can kicking, we've seen it before. Because cutting is hard.
Yep.
Politically, it's really hard to get it done. People love what Doge is doing. You get into making the sausage, and sentiments change a bit. And that's what happens. And I guess we'll see where it goes this week.
Wall Street Journal, House Democrat leaders say they oppose the bill, and few, if any, House Democrats will vote for it. Their hope is that Mr. Johnson loses enough Republicans so the bill fails, and the Speaker will have to seek support from Democratic leader Jeffries. The Democratic price is likely to be to spend more for their priorities, as well as statutory limits on Elon Musk's Department of Government Efficiency layoffs and spending shifts.
Right.
President Trump understands the stakes, and this weekend asked House Republicans to pass the measure to avoid a government shutdown.
Right.
Major policy changes Republicans want can come in the giant budget reconciliation bill for fiscal 2026 that is in the early stages of moving through Congress.
Yeah.
Senate Democrats could also filibuster the bill, but so far they seem wary of taking responsibility for a shutdown.
Yeah, because if you've got the votes from the GOP, if they're able to get that together, and then they want to filibuster on the left, well, then they take the blame.
This may be my opinion here. If House Republicans unite to pass the bill as early as Tuesday, and the Senate Republicans produce 51 votes in support, Senator Chuck Schumer's Democrats would be responsible for triggering a shutdown, but Republicans will get the blame if they scuttle the Speaker's bill.
Right.
To govern is to choose, often from the least bad alternatives.
Yeah. Right. Force it on the left, and they'll do what they do. And then on other items, for those GOP in the House that are wanting to get things done, you wait for reconciliation. And when, then you add all your stuff on that and see what happens, right? Well, it's because
I know I'm not patient either. I'm not patient either.
It's because I keep getting back to the slim margin in the House. That's what's frustrating in the shadows of, and in the same year that Donald Trump made the biggest political comeback in American history. Those House seats. I mean, seriously. And that slim margin. This is something, too, that has to be, everything from the day after the election in November, everything now is about the midterm. And you're going to have to get things done. And we're with conservatives when it comes to spending and things like that. Look, we talked about the administration and tariffs and all the things that could be damaging politically. Whatever it is you're trying to accomplish on the tariffs, get it done, get it behind you. So that at the midterm, you can keep the House and the Senate and hopefully gain some seats in the House. Because otherwise, Donald Trump is a lame duck president. He's done. There's nothing he can get done outside of executive orders. And you want that full 4 years, which still isn't enough to get everything done, to fix everything they broke on the left. But you're going to have to do everything you can to keep it for the 4 years. And I guess we'll see. This is going to be a crazy week on both the tariff front and on spending. Because if you're holding the line, now as a GOP conservative in the House, and you can't get all the votes there, if Speaker can't get all the votes he needs to send it over to the Senate, you get the blame, and there's no way around it. Now, do those more conservative GOP House members not care about the shutdown? Do they think that's a minimal impact, that people don't really care about that? I would say this. It is a minimal impact typically, but the left and the liberal activist media is going to add that to the pile of what they are telling people is the onslaught of government jobs, under Doge and everything else going away and all this. And this is going to mean, look at all this and government shutdown. People are being hurt, blah, 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 blah. And there's a way to make the left take the blame for this. We just laid out. The president knows that. You know, you make your move on reconciliation. On this, hold the party line, send it over to the left, and make them take the blame.
Yeah, I remember, we go back to when the government has been shut down in the past. I remember when Republicans got the blame, but the last time it was shut down, Democrats got the blame.
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't think probably in the Senate for a continuing resolution, if you keep the spending the same, I don't think Democrats want the blame for it.
No, I don't think they do either. No.
Because where do you go at that point? What are you going to be negotiating at that point if it doesn't pass in the Senate, it passes in the House?
Right.
It's going to be a wait and see till the pressure's on the Democrats to fold on it.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to have any Republican agree to stop the process of Elon Musk.
No. Nope.
And I think that...
And nor should you.
And I think that Republicans, it would be tough for them to say, look, it's the same spending levels. We may have done a little bit, shifted money here or there, but it's the same spending levels.
Right.
To drop that and say, no, we're going to give more to, I'll just throw it out, Medicaid would not be the time to do that.
Right.
Just politically, it wouldn't be the time.
Right.
So we'll see.
Mm-hmm.
It could get done. It could get done as early as tomorrow, though. We'll see.
Yeah.
Tuesday.
Yeah.
866-98 Red Eye.
Coming up, more with Gary McNamara and Eric Harley. It's Red Eye Radio.
It's Red Eye Radio. He's Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Download our Red Eye Radio app today. Our show ends an hour from now.
Mm-hmm.
And so when it's over, we record the show, and it becomes our podcast. So if you can't catch all 5 hours because you only get up right now, you can do it during the day on our Red Eye Radio app. And if for some reason during the show you can't get us on one of our great radio stations, we stream all 5 hours live on our Red Eye Radio app.
And thank you.
Yeah.
Gary, I want to say condolences, our thoughts and prayers are with our friend and colleague Larry O'Connor at WMAL. Lost his father over the weekend and posted about it, and we're all very sad for Larry and his family. Our thoughts and prayers are with Larry and his family and extended family there at WMAL as he goes through something. You and I talk about our fathers. And both of our dads have been in and out of the hospital recently. And so we certainly want to send our thoughts and prayers to Larry. And he's shared that with his followers on X. He posted a few things. And
I hope you're doing okay, Larry.
Yeah, we hope you're doing all right. Thank you. And it's just one of those things that you and I again can relate to.
Absolutely,
with our fathers right now, especially so. Thoughts and prayers are with you, Larry. We're all thinking of you and your family.
So here's the headline. We'll talk more about this because this could get interesting. Biden's auto pen signature appears on most of his official documents, raising concerns over who controlled the White House. That's getting bigger every single day now that he's out of office.
Yeah.
Who was controlling the White House?
Right.
Especially
Who was
every
doing
time
all these moves.
And especially every time they bring on Elon Musk.
Right.
Elon Musk is controlled by the President of the United States, who everybody knows is in charge. That's Donald Trump.
Right.
Who was in charge during the Biden administration.
Right.
Oh, it's just great stuff.
This is Red Eye Radio on Westwood One.